So moving on to source 2, all the people witnessed the thunder and the lightning, the blare of the horn and the mountain smoking. When the people saw it, they fell back and stood at a distance. And the question that Rashi raises in his commentary on it is, what does it mean by all the people saw?
Rashi says they saw that which should be heard, something which is impossible to see on any other occasion. And to me, what's important about that and what's relevant about that is that second phrase there. It's not something that is possible at any other time. This is a sui generis, unique experience, something that is completely different than anything else. And part of what's interesting about it on other layers and levels as well is that we don't have great descriptions. This is not the only prophetic event in the Torah. There's many a prophetic event in the Torah. This is the only sort of public event of a prophecy in the Torah. Now, God talks about speaking to Moshe person to person. Other prophets see dreams or they're put to sleep. It's not a natural process. Here, the Jewish people are akin to Moshe. They're awake, maybe barely awake, but they're awake. But the process is what occurs is something that is completely different than anything else of any other time period. That's the way it is described. And that's part of, at least to me, what's interesting is Rashi is picking up on seeing what is usually heard. And we know the phrase, seeing is believing. So maybe part of that is you heard it, but it's more than just hearing it. The experience is greater than just the experience of hearing alone, the multi-sensory experience.
Are you familiar with synesthesia?
No, I don't know that phrase.
So synesthesia is where you actually see colors when you hear sounds. And there's a sort of a high convergence of people who have perfect pitch, and then this extra actually optical nerve stimulation that's occurring when they hear sounds. So they'll hear a C and say, oh, that's a blue. And they'll hear an A and say, oh, that's a green or a red. And it's not a conserved color palette, but they actually experience sound in color form. And if my memory is correct, they were able to simulate this in people using magnetic stimulation. So you put a magnet on the brain and kind of flick it from the side, give it a little jostle. And you could actually invoke something like this, where a sound was now corresponding to a color. And part of what's going on in your brain when this is happening is that the wires are crossed. Literally, the neurons are sending signals across these different neural pathways so that you're hearing sound. And for me, that's what I was imagining in addition to the cacophony here is almost this, it's so intense that it's overwhelming your normal brain chemistry to where you are experiencing it with all of your senses in a way.
When you come back to my house and you're at my Shabbat table and I'll be trying to sing some Zmirot and my kids will be saying how terrible I sound, you'll understand as to why that phrase, I will not even remember the word to make myself feel better. But the Jewish people are terrified. They're overwhelmed. The experience is beyond what people could recognize. And it's a very intriguing scientific point that you point out. And they move backwards. They move away. Right? The Rashi here cites a midrash of an exaggeration that they move back 12 miles, a very far amount. I would imagine the number 12 there is being used because of the 12 tribes of Israel and saying like everybody was part of it. That's why they're moving 12 miles. Everybody is moving back and they are trembling. They are scared, which is, it's a very difficult process that they go through at this time. Destabilizing, fearful, they're worried and they're scared.